Thank you for watching EVH Gear Discussion. Brought to you in part by VanHalenStore.com. Please be sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to EVH Gear Discussion, the weekly EVH talk show officially recognized by the Van Halen News Desk. It's sponsored by VanHalenStore.com and Simple Signs and Graphics. From Ontario, Canada, my name is Eric Broadbent, your host for this episode. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Joining me from the UK is guitarist producer Jay Parmar.
Hey, how are you doing?
How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
Fantastic, and I am absolutely thrilled not only to have you, but have you with a good connection. We got good lighting. We got good sound. I mean, you're making the job easy for me. As you saw me going off the air a few minutes ago, I was scrambling getting all these screens going. But man, great. Awesome.
Yeah, it's good that it's all working. You know, the great thing about having the studio set up for doing all the video recording is that whenever I need to do this on Skype or anything, all the lighting's there, and yeah, it just works. You know?
I know.
So,
and that's the thing too.
It's cool.
We'll get into some of the, your online lessons and things like that too. But that's where a lot of people might take for granted. You know, number one, technology provides us the opportunity today to be able to teach lessons around the world, and that could be from anything, not just guitar. It could be other things too. But where a lot of people maybe skimp is they don't realize that audio, video, and lighting, there's so many factors that you have to really give serious consideration to. And it looks like you've got a great grasp on that.
Yeah, it's come over time because I've been doing the YouTube thing just like yourself, and I think I'm in my 4th year now.
Okay.
Yeah, I started it just over like 3 years ago or something like that. And throughout that time, they were kind of, when I look at the old videos, I can see where I needed to improve.
Yes.
And, not just in terms of my confidence and stuff, because I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, did I really sound like that? Was I really stiff like that with the guitar and kind of, welcome to another lynch. Anyways.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It takes a while.
Yeah, definitely. It's practice. It's like anything. It's like playing a musical instrument. You do it for a while and then suddenly one day it just all clicks and it feels good and natural and you're able to just kind of almost perform to the camera. And it's a tricky thing to do because we don't have an audience here. We're basically talking to ourselves, right?
That's right.
So that makes it a little bit tricky sometimes, but you do learn it, and I love doing it now. It's the visual aspect as well as the music and stuff. The combination, it just seems to be something that it seems to be my thing, So yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah,
we share a similar passion for sure too, and I find the exact same thing. You've said everything I could possibly say.
Awesome.
I used to love doing the live band thing, and I really don't miss it other than the odd little rush of it. I really don't. But the YouTube thing is where I find my home. I find my comfort zone. But I'll be 100% honest, even though I'm getting more comfortable, I'm more comfortable, but I'm not comfortable, if that makes any sense. That light goes on the camera sometimes, and especially in the live, like we're doing a live show right now. It's one thing if you're recording at home and then you do your editing and you upload it, but when you're doing the live show, anything can go wrong. You never know, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember the first time I did a Facebook Live thing. And I've only done it once because I thought, hey, I've been doing this for a while. And then I turned on the camera on my phone and I was just scared to hell, man. I was looking at this camera and almost shaking. So the live thing just introduces a completely new dynamic to everything. And you're right. When we're in the studio and just recording videos and, you're going to edit it later and stuff and make it look all great and take all the bloopers out and stuff. And but again, it's just a process, and even with interviews and kind of just speaking to people, it becomes a natural thing to do eventually because you know your craft, you're kind of almost semi-rehearsed and stuff, and you're comfortable with actually speaking about what you're doing and stuff.
That's right. And as long as you have some knowledge on the subject, you don't have to know it all. As long as you have something your knowledge that you have will give you your legs to stand on. The rest you can kind of work on. I know there's something that's not related to music, but there's a guy that I follow on the internet. I'm a photographer, an aspiring photographer as well, too. And there's a few of these kind of the Eddie Van Halens of photography, if that makes any sense, or the George Lynch's of photography. There's a guy that I followed for many years, and he was the guy that inspired me to buy certain gear and things like that. And you watch this guy do his shows, and he is as natural can be. I mean, it looks like he's a rock star on the live shows. And then he actually showed his first video from only a couple years ago, and it was downright embarrassing. But he purposely shared it to show people like us that, you are going to evolve. And I've gone back I've looked at some of my things before too, and I won't say what I did wrong. It was, a lot of things were lighting, a lot of things were too much stuff, this and that. And you eventually find your little spot that seems to work. You work on your content, work on your message, and then once you get the fan base that you and I are starting to get, then the fans support you with what you're doing too, and sometimes they give you some tips and some suggestions that works its way into the show. So it's a constant, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I've had lots of pieces fall behind the stove and a lot of stuck on the wall, so I feel fairly confident with that. But I admire you for what you do, man. Like, you're doing a good thing online.
Thank you.
Producing great content. Obviously, I'm a fan and a friend, so it's a nice bonus for sure. But I think what we'll do is we'll take a quick moment. We'll just say hi to everyone that's joining in the chat, and then we'll jump right into some of the questions. And folks that are watching, we have some prizes today, courtesy of Jay. We'll talk about those shortly as well. There are going to be some digital downloads for some trivia questions. So there's a test to follow, so make sure you pay attention. And usually when my teachers would say that's when I would nod off, but try to pay attention. So I've got extra screens today, so we're looking at 5 screens today, which helps me tremendously. So starting off the whole afternoon, just like always, I've got my very lovely Poison Ivy Gross here. Michael Bishop is joining us. Surf Cat Matt is back. Quentin James, Prometheum Band. Jay Parmar is the man, so that must be one of your fans.
Actually, that's Dan, my friend Dan. Hey Dan, how you doing? I'm playing on his album here, the new Prometheum album, which is just very cool. I'll tell you about that a little bit later, but it's a great album. I've kind of heard a preview of it, and
good stuff.
very, very privileged to have done that.
That's good. Well, thank you for bringing some of your fans over. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of your fans coming, so I appreciate that. Surf Cat Matt, it's 70 here in Florida. And he says burr. It's minus 4 degrees here in Canada, so burr. Yeah. Cutter Savage is joining us. ESP Mike, Zachary Suter,
cool.
one of our youngster locals here and a fan of the show.
Yay.
Michael Bishop saying hello, Eric and Jay. He's seen some of Jay's stuff.
Cool. So thank you, Mike.
Yeah, your friend Prometheum, if there is saying hello to Mike, Surf Cat Matt, Quentin James, 65 in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're getting some nice weather around the world. What's it like over in the UK right now?
Cold.
Is it? How cold is cold?
Wet and, it's probably about the same as where you are. We're a relatively similar climate.
Okay.
So yeah, in the evening it's like it's about 8 p.m. in the evening here, so the temperature drops and stuff. During the daytime it's kind of okay. We're kind of edging into spring, which is great because I just got back from India like a week ago, and I was in searing heat, which was just awesome. I was sitting on a beach for like 10 days. And to get back to the cold, it was like,
I can imagine. No. And that's one of the things I'm going to work into the conversation later today too, is about your vacation. But I saw some of your photos, man. I was just loving it. Kind of living through it vicariously through you.
Awesome.
Adam's joining us, and Adam, I'm going to try to show a gallery that you sent me some pictures as well too. Try to show that online. Unfortunately, there's going to be some that didn't get flipped. They're sideways, so people are going to have to turn their heads when I show you those pictures. Let me see. Quentin James, Midnight Darkstar. Greetings, everyone. Randy Clark. I love Jay. He's phenomenal.
Cool.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Liza Morris or Lisa Morris. I'm going to say Liza because I think it's Liza.
Liza, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Saying hello, Dirty Apes, another regular to the show. Jay's stuff is sweet. Awesome setup. I agree 100%. It's nice to have a nice setup like that. Everything looks really, really good. Michael Kennedy saying hello, everyone. Midnight Darkstar.
Oh, hey, Mike.
And he has a question we can get to in a little bit. Does anyone have the Fender Mustang Amp V2? I do not. I do not have that. Brian Buse saying hello all. Michael Kennedy is saying, so glad to see Jay on the show. Yeah, and that's come up a few times, Jay. Well, as you saw a few times, you watched the show, and your name
Yeah,
comes up a lot in the
definitely.
chat. So it was inevitable to have you on, and I planned on that for a long time.
Ironically, what had happened was I got back from NAMM, and obviously we were hanging out that day,
Mm-hmm.
watching George play, and I Michael had actually commented on one of the videos, and he'd said, "You should get on the EVH gear discussion show." And it was already in my mind because we'd met. So I was like, "Hey, man, that's part of the plan. I'll be on there soon." So
For sure. And it's not too bad. It's only about 5-6 weeks after that, so that's not too bad at all.
right,
For sure.
absolutely, yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
I'm thrilled as well. Let me see. Where was the one comment? I just missed it. It goes by so fast here too. Adam says, "Yeah, it takes a lot of courage and thick skin to be on YouTube. Hats off." I agree with that to a point for sure. Actually, I agree with that 100%. There's
Right,
there's a lot of people that will praise you, and there's other people that sometimes you just can't impress everyone. But you know what? We do
right,
it for a passion, and we like sharing it with you. So if people appreciate that,
yeah.
it makes it rewarding.
Well, one of the things about why I do YouTube now, and I think it's YouTube has helped me to discover what my purpose in this whole scheme of like music is. Because at one point I wanted to be on stage, I wanted to be a rock star, I wanted to tour the world and stuff. Now I'm completely comfortable just being here and doing what I'm doing because I find that what I do inspires people. And if that's happening, then that's a really good thing because I I live an inspired life myself. I live a wonderful life with my wife and my cat and my house and in Brighton by the sea and stuff. If I can pass a little bit of that happiness on to everybody every single day, then hey, that's a good day's work. That's just so rewarding to do. And it helps other people as well in more ways than just, playing guitar and stuff. So
Of course,
yeah,
guitar is just the
it's
icing on the cake.
definitely. And, yeah, there are some negative comments, but my view on that is always, you know what? I have a choice at that point. I can either spend my time focusing on that, or I can spend that time focusing on actually, inspiring people even more and the positive stuff that happens. So I choose the positive every single time.
I agree. That is awesome. Excellent advice, and advice I will take to heart as well too.
Yeah.
Well, people are saying in the chat that my mic is a bit low, so I'm just going to bring it up just a little tiny bit.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully that's
Sure.
better. And I am saying a little bit back from it too. But I agree with that 100%. And you inspire not only obviously people outside of music, but you inspire people in your exact same profession as well too, because you and I do the exact same thing. And there's,
Right.
there's a lot of people that really inspire me doing this. Like you're one of them. It's just
Thanks.
to keep doing what you're doing. A lot of our similar friends online, like your Mike Himmels and your Liquid Charlies and people like that. It's good, man. And as Adam Reaver, who's another mutual friend of ours, I know
Oh,
I use
cool.
this term a lot. I got to pay Adam some royalties for saying this because it's the Good Guy Network, copyright 2000 and something. Adam Reaver, Futone, but the Good Guy Network prevails. You either be a part of the Good Guy Network or you're not. And when you're a part of the Good Guy Network, there's a lot of perks that come along with it. And by perks, I mean friendship, networking, learning. It's a wonderful world when you get to discover other talent, pick up tips on things like that, whether it's guitar playing or photography or whatever, sports.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
And you learn about being a good person as well, and that's a really important thing. I think it's so easy to get caught up in the whole hullabaloo of like the internet and life and stuff, and just having like 50,000 people messaging you and stuff like that. But it's really, really inspiring when you're part of a really good network of people who are are just good to each other. They're not infighting and stuff. I've seen some channels where it happens, and the people are happy for that to happen, and that's cool. That's also got a place in the world for whatever reason. But for me personally, it's wonderful when you can actually meet people who you resonate with and become friends with, and not just on the superficial level, but you can actually hang out with them. You can have a beer with them. You can talk to them about stuff other than music, and it's not just kind of what can I get from you kind of thing,
Exactly.
if that makes sense. So
No, it makes
yeah,
total sense, and that's why we both kind of alluded to, how this kind of becomes our home, and we're comfortable
right,
here in the YouTube environment. That's what I really like about it. So let's go back some years when we're out there performing live, or in my case, performing live years
sure,
ago, and I've retired now from it. You know, you retire. I mean, you stop the performance for the evening. You load up all your stuff. You get in the van with a bunch of sweaty guys. You travel 5-6 hours, maybe longer. You know, the fun. Those are their moments, and a lot of people still doing it today. But now, when I do the show, you know, I spend time with the family before the show. I'm even spending time with the family during the show because we're texting back and forth, and you know, getting ideas for the next questions and things like that. When the show's done, you know, okay, thank you, good night, whatever, or good afternoon in this case. You go spend time with family. You have your supper. You're right there. That's why it's a magical thing for me, because family's still right here in the other room. I love it.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things that changed my mind about touring, and I've done it before. In 2009, I toured with Eden's Curse, and we went around the UK a couple of times that year and stuff, and it was awesome. You know, I loved doing it. I loved being on stage and kind of just playing and stuff, and I still do. You know, being at NAMM this year was fantastic, playing for Kaipro Guitars, and last year at Music China as well. Which I'll be doing probably later this year as well, Music China as well.
Sweet.
But you're right, you know, being right here and being able to kind of just, because I get to perform every day, right?
Exactly.
I get to be kind of, you know, on stage.
That's right.
Every single day when I'm doing my thing. So I don't miss it as such in terms of I'm not out there, I'm not being seen by anybody, or kind of, you know, I'm just holed up in my bedroom and I'm just playing. I don't feel like that.
No,
anymore.
exactly. And actually it feels like a larger stage than ever, honestly, because you've got the world stage now. And I know for a fact, because you're over on that side of the world on from the UK, that you're seeing it just like I'm seeing over here in North America and Canada, that our audience is global. I know you see people coming from every continent, every country, you know, it's almost crazy when you see that. And people are tuning in the weirdest hours, you know, like, because they're time zones. I've got people here in North America, like, let's say it's 3:20 here, we'll say 3:30 here Eastern Standard Time. There'll be some people that'll join, they'll say, hey, I'm watching right now, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
That'd be Craig Rundles, right?
That would be Craig Rundles. That was funny. And then he was actually saying, no, I'm in Los Angeles. That was a funny moment that night. And I felt so bad too. You were laughing too. I know you were, when I said, oh yeah, Craig, yeah, he's joining us at late night, whatever. And he told me just a day before that he was in Los Angeles for the week. And I totally forgot. But yeah, Craig is great. And we may see him. I think there's a bunch of people down below here. I'm going to keep going just for a quick moment. We'll get right into some questions. Sure. So Surf Cat Matt, just like real life Murphy's Law. Okay, so Adam was talking about the thick skin on YouTube. Bill Seiss says, hey Jay, from Round Rock, Texas.
Oh, cool. Hey.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Surf Cat Matt says Eric rocks it. Poison Ivy's giving us some thumbs up. Here we go. We just said from around the world. JD Gonzalez says, hey, hi Jay and hi Eric. Venezuela present. Thank you.
Wow, cool.
Thank you for representing.
Hey, how you doing?
Brian M says, hello everyone. And we got to say hello to one of my favorite people on the entire planet, Liquid Charlie. Saying hello, everyone.
Hey.
I love you, buddy. Great to hear from Charlie. Great video, the newest one you've just done. And he's got a Macintosh now. He's finally got a real computer. I hate to say that.
Oh, cool.
And you know what? I can say that because I have a PC here right as well, too. I have Macintosh in front of me, and I have a PC over here. But Charlie's got a real computer. He's got a Mac. He's editing. He's doing a great job. Keep it up, buddy. Phenomenal.
And talking about Craig and Charlie, we're actually working on a song and a video at the moment, so they'll be out at some stage. So you guys will get to see that. So I just wanted to kind of let you know.
That's good. Oh no, we'll talk about that for sure. We'll work that in for sure as well too. That's awesome. Ethan Wells, hey Jay, great to see you, bud.
Oh hey, friends. How you doing? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey man, it's good to see you here.
Charlie S says, hey guys, big fan of both of you. Promethean Band, what's Jay's favorite CD he is playing on this year? Oh, that's a good one. There's a setup question, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. As long as the check is in the post.
There you go.
It's Promethean. Yeah, definitely Promethean.
There you go.
No, you know, it was amazing doing that solo. It's Promethean is a metal band, so I've played on a variety of music over my lifetime. You know, just hard rock's been my thing, but also, you know, blues, metal, progressive. I was in a band called The Inner Road for a couple of years and did a progressive rock instrumental, which is kind of 70s meets Dream Theater. So I've done all of that. So when I got the opportunity to do the Promethean track, it was like, great. This is going to be very cool, because I know what Dan writes like, what his guitar playing is like and stuff, and I just knew that it would be an opportunity to really kind of get into the meat of that metal playing and stuff. So yeah, it's a cool solo, and I think you guys will enjoy it when you hear it. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that one for sure. Jeffrey Monroe's jumping in. Surfcat Matt Promethean again. So, and hey, dude, obviously. Let me see. I'll just see if I can miss anybody else here too. Let me see. Michael. Now here, I'm going to try my best to pronounce this. And this is, I think, this might be a friend of yours, Michael Speccartola.
Oh yeah, Speccartola. Yeah,
Speccartola.
Yep.
There you go. He says hi to both of us. Legacy
of
Lynch, another one of your friends. Anyone that comes in here with a Lynch name, it's definitely going to be a fan of yours for sure. Frank C, another regular on the show. Brian Bew, 57 degrees in Columbus today. Prometheum Daniel rocks. Jared Frost was just commenting on one of his posts. He's probably a mutual friend of yours too. He's a big EVH gear advocate, and I was just commenting on Facebook on his post. Very nice. He's joining us from Texas. I saw, and speaking of vacation photos, saw some nice vacation photos of his recently too.
Awesome.
Yeah, Sean Silas. Yes, I love it when I love seeing everyone in the chat, but it's great when we see some of our regulars as we're seeing here as well.
Fantastic.
I appreciate that, Sean. Hope your little man's doing well. He just chimed in. Dirty Apes got my Futon block in EVH Stripe Series guitar last night. Love it. All my guitars get well Futon upgrades. And yeah, Frank C, a few people were saying earlier that is my mic on, my light level is low, so I brought that up all good. Yeah, a lot of people saying that. Let me see if I've missed anybody else here as well too. Scroll down, and we're gonna get right into some great questions. Steve Hicks, it was great to see you guys. Huge fan of both your shows. Awesome.
Cool.
I love that. Excellent. When we share the love for sure. Let's scroll down here a little bit more. Legacy of Lynch. Craig Rundles is great too. Of course he is. We love Craig. Mutual friend of all of ours. A lot of fun.
Definitely.
And Rock Biter, afternoon, Jay and Eric. No, I'm going to just highlight this so I can go back to that. And Sean Silas says he's got to check out your material. So, Sean, awesome. You may get a chance to actually get some material because we're going to have some trivia questions here very, very soon. And one of the prizes are going to be some digital downloads of some of Jay's discography. Now, I'm not 100% sure which ones they are, but we'll ask Jay about that momentarily here. But we're going to have some great downloads. So let's get right into it. And I know we're going to probably have to sacrifice a few questions, and we'll go to questions in the chat. But the first question I have on the itinerary is, Jay, it's more of a statement, but we'll kind of expand on that. You and I had the opportunity to finally meet up and, become friends. So we've talked online and things like that on Facebook, but we met at NAMM this year. And tell us what it was like for NAMM, at NAMM for you this year, and some of your previous experiences at NAMM, and possibly some of the performances that you've done at NAMM.
Sure. NAMM was fantastic this year. It was a bit of an eye-opener this year because I was properly performing for Kypro Guitars, whom I hooked up with last year. My really good friend Dave Reffett hooked me up with the band. Thank you, Dave. Love you, man. He's an incredible guitar player for a start. But he kind of hooked me up with the company, and they flew me out to China, Music China, last year in Shanghai in October. And I played for them, and then they were going to be at NAMM, and I figured, you know what, I need to go over to California. So I came over and stuff, and it was just a wonderful experience this time because I guess I felt comfortable in my own skin because in previous years I've been there, but I just wasn't used to being in front of people and stuff. So I performed once before, and it was kind of a bit awkward and stuff. But this time it felt really, really natural to do, and really loved being there and meeting everybody and just walking around and seeing everything. One of the revelations for me was people kept recognizing me, and I just did not expect it. It wasn't just people that I know of in terms of people who are into George Lynch and that whole crowd, but it was just regular people who are on YouTube watching videos and stuff. And people were stopping me and saying, "You're that guy who does Lynch lessons, right?" That was very, very cool. And then I went over to just to see the guys at Freedom Amps, and just to say, "Hey, love the BEOD pedal." I just wanted to let them know because I just absolutely adore that pedal. Mm-hmm. And Rob actually came up to me and he said, "Hey Jay, I'm Rob. I'm the owner of the company. I love your videos." And that was kind of a bit of a mind-blowing moment. It was just amazing that happened.
Surreal.
Yeah, totally. And that happened with Rob Timmons at Arcane Pickups as well. Love their pickups. He just makes beautiful pickups. I use the Mr. Scary pickup in my, my Holy Grail guitars and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was kind of such a cool experience to experience, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean there.
Yeah,
I
had a wonderful time.
I know what you mean there too when you have the people come up to you, because we know people watch our stuff. I mean, we're not saying that a million people watch our stuff, because that's not the case. But
Right.
people watch the stuff, but you just don't really know the reach of it. And I got to experience that firsthand too, and I was completely flabbergasted on the Thursday night at NAMM. I think it was Thursday. I think I arrived Thursday, and I went out with my really good friend Sam Alvarado. He kind of picked me up and took me under his wing. He knows LA like
Cool.
the back of his hand, and we actually didn't go too far out. We actually stayed kind of within NAMM's compounds there, but we got to see a bunch of different bands playing and stuff like that. And he
Right.
was even laughing. I mean, he was elbowing me a few times because people were coming up, people I didn't know at first. And then I think it's the mustache or something, but they're like, hey, the EVH, the discussion guy. And I'm like, we watch your show all the time. And I'm like, and I didn't even know what to say. I was like, oh, thank you. And I shook their hands. And that happened multiple times. And
Right.
and that's not boasting. That's just something that I'd almost like to say that didn't happen, because I was flabbergasted by it. I didn't know what to
absolutely.
say. And you're just like, wow, thank you. I really, really, you're like, okay, thank you. Can I buy you a drink? Or, you know what I mean? It's one of those things, right? And then you're like, wow, people get it.
You're right, yeah, and it was lovely, because it was kind of nice to see how everything that people like you and I do influences people in a really positive way, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience, just from not just from a personal perspective, but just a global perspective of, just like I said earlier, just spreading that happiness and inspiration with people,
Exactly. Especially, with our younger audiences too. I'm sure you get contacted.
Right.
Like I get contacted. Like I get contacts from, beginners to advanced people. Like, what should I do for this? What should I do for this? And it's nice when you can just lend some encouragement or some advice, whether it's, okay, well, maybe you need to do this, or maybe you should look at this for an amplifier, or blah, blah, blah. As long as you point somebody in the right direction and they come back and say, yeah, I did this, and I'm having so much fun. And who cares about anything else? As long as you hear that word, I'm having fun and I'm playing more, or maybe this pedal gave me that, that excitement. It's fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. It's all about that. Music's supposed to be a really positive thing, and just enhance people's lives, I guess. And the musicians can help make that happen by I guess engaging with them with them in a real way, on a one-to-one, rather than, I'm a rock star kind of thing, and
That's right.
you're my fan. That doesn't work for me.
I know. And we have the technology now available to us, just like we're seeing today is a perfect example. We can be talking around the world in a live show environment. We can be messaging people, either text messaging, through social media, and commenting back and forth. We can connect with these people right away. Now, it's hard sometimes for us to get back to people immediately every time, because there are a lot of messages that will come in for both of us. But as long as you're dedicating some time out of your schedule every day to be there as a support system, it's great. And I'm the same person. I'm a consumer and a producer of that technology. I'm a consumer of it when I ask people for advice and say, how can I fix this? Or what should I be using for my camera or for my guitar? Or maybe where should I be putting this in the loop, whatever. And then I'm also a person who's giving it. So, and I'm sure you in your everyday life, whether not just music, but I'm sure you're both a consumer and a producer of knowledge.
Definitely. And I think that goes back to just the mindset that, for me personally, life is always a learning experience.
Yes.
I'm never going to arrive until that last moment when the lights go out, because I want to continue learning throughout my lifetime, regardless of my age, regardless of where I am. There is always something to learn, from our experiences, from people, from the world. So being open to that is a great thing, because then you continue doing that, and you continue to actually evolve and enhance your life, and that helps us to enhance the life of other people as well. We can pay it forward.
Exactly. That very good advice. That's going to be one of the takeaways from the show. I'm going to mark it down right now.
Cool.
I always like to say there's always a takeaway from the show. And it could be a technical piece, but you know what? Pay it forward is a really, really, really good thing. It's
right.
I can relate it here in Canada to going to the coffee shop. I talk about coffee a lot on this show, and I don't know why. Maybe because I'm addicted to coffee. But
Coffee's good.
Yes, it is good. You go to the coffee shop in the morning, and you go to pay for it, and the person in front of you has paid for your coffee, and they say no charge. And you're like, that just makes your day. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Little things like that.
Completely.
Yeah. And I was just given a text message that popped in from my secondary producer, and my very special Poison Ivy says that Craig is in the chat. Craig is in the chat. Grendel's.
Awesome.
Fantastic. I haven't got down there yet to see his name. Oh, I see him now. He says, hey, guys, good to see Jay on the show. And I have to go back a little bit and make sure I don't miss anyone.
Cool.
Let me see here. Let's go back a little bit. But as I go back to find, you know what? Let's do this right now.
Sure.
Before we've even asked a question, we're going to do first trivia question. And Jay, tell the people what they're going to, what one person's going to win by answering this question correctly.
All right. You know what? Whoever answers that, I'll send them digital downloads of the 4 albums I'm on. So the George Lynch tribute, Strange Day, which was my first solo album, Circle of Fire, which was my second album, and The Inner Road Ascension, which was the progressive rock metal thing that I did as well. So yeah, you'll get all 4 of them as digital download.
Fantastic. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do one right now, and what's going to happen is once and someone's going to probably answer the question before I even ask it, because I know it. But what we're going to do is once we've collected we're going to do 3 winners. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to do 3 winners. And once I collect all the people's names, I'm going to have the winners go to the EVH Gear Discussion Facebook page. That's facebook.com/EVH Gear Discussion, and send a message through there. Say I'm a winner. Say who you are, and say what your YouTube name was. And I'm going to pass it on to Jay. Jay will send you off digital links and whatnot. So the first question is, what, or I should say, who? This is an easy one. Who is Jay's biggest influence? So the first person to get that one, I'm going to watch the chat for a moment because there is about a 30 to 45 second delay in the chat. We're going to keep an eye on that one. Who is Jay's biggest influence? And Craig Rendels, you can't participate.
Actually, my biggest influence now is like Liquid Charlie and Craig Rendels.
There you go. There you go. So
yeah, there you go.
Change that.
We have to change the answer. Yeah,
that's
totally.
right.
Completely.
All right, we'll see who gets that one. We have a great chat going on here today as well. I have to watch this really, really close. And Sandra Lee, I know you're watching as well, too. Obviously, you're helping me moderate. I think you know the answer to this one here, too. So if you happen to see it, you know. Oh, there we go. Surf Cat Matt. Matt got it. So George Lynch. All right. So Liza, you were very close. You were right in behind, but I did see Surf Cat Matt. All right. So Surf Cat Matt. Okay. So Surf Cat, send me a message through. You can do that after the show if you want. EVH Gear Discussion on Facebook, and just give me your contact information. And Jay may even already have it, but I just like to have it just so I can pass it on and make sure I have them all together. So Liza, good chance, a good answer there, just right behind Rockbiter. Is in there. Randy Clark, everyone's coming in now. Yeah, you cannot leave the room. And Craig Rendels, Sean Silas, everyone's jumping in. But and even my Sandra Lee is messaging me here as well, saying who the winner was. So that's good. All right, so we got our first one. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Hey,
all right.
Awesome.
And I'm just gonna turn off my other thing over here for a second because I'm hearing some. Whoops. Let's go back again.
I'm just gonna quickly do a shout out for Jason, who was on the show the other day, because he mentioned these.
Yes.
And this, which is my favorite book. I used to watch it as a kid. So Battle of the Planets and Monkey Magic. Jason, Jason McNamara, that was just awesome of you to say. And you know what? I picked up just want to show you this. It's a Monkey Magic t-shirt. I picked up in China last year. So anyways, yeah, just random thought.
Well, that's great. I love it for sure. Okay, I'm going to go back over to our questions here as well now too. Let's talk about companies that you represent, people that you're endorsing. Tell us a little bit about the companies that have shown you some love.
Sure. Kuiper Guitars, first of all. I hooked up with them last year. Like I said, just a wonderful company. I know the guys who build the guitars, who build the pickups, the owners of the company, and they're all just wonderful people. Love the guys so much. And I went over to play for them at Music China. I didn't know what to expect because Kypro is a very new company. They've been around for about a year and a half, 2 years now, and the guitar's just in final development stages at the moment. And I'll actually show you all. Let me get my lovely, lovely Kypro guitar here.
That's beautiful. That's nice.
Yeah. This I saw this in a photo. Kenji, who's the builder of the guitar, he owns the factory where they're built. He'd shown me a picture of the stand that first day when I arrived. And I saw this in the corner, this color, this kind of green colored Kypro, and I decided at that point I was going to go play it. So I was just playing it for the first couple of days, and we went out for dinner on I think the second or third day, and Kenji kind of puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Tomorrow, pick the guitar that you want to take home with you." I was like, "You serious, dude?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely. It's my gift to you." And this has been wonderful. It's a beautiful, beautiful instrument. I've posted pictures of this today on my Facebook and Instagram with all the details, but it's, baked maple neck, single piece mahogany body. It's got a huge brass block in there, locking tuners, just great guitars. It's really worked for me really well. So this I've been using. Last year I also got this guy here, which is the Blue Guitar Amp 1, designed by Thomas Blug. Wonderful piece of kit. It's just a great sounding amp, and that's actually a 100-watt amp. That's my 100-watt amp,
Nice.
which I took in my suitcase to NAMM because it's so portable. It's on my pedal board now, and it means that I don't have to lug around a really heavy amp. I also have an endorsement with Randall amps, so I use those as well. And I guess the other company that I absolutely love working with is the Friedman BEOD. I've been kind of doing lots of videos about that lately, which is, I just love the pedal. It's just, it's become my sound type of thing,
Nice.
It's just redefined. And I've just started working with these guys actually, which is Mad Hatter.
Okay.
I met Electric Ed at NAMM, actually at a dinner, which a friend of mine had invited me to. And, I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking, I know him from somewhere. It's the NAMM experience.
Of
because,
course, yep.
You see people. And basically then it kind of, somebody mentioned what he did and it kind of clicked. What he does is he creates these potentiometers and switches and stuff which are solderless, and it really enhances the tone of the guitar. It's kind of like almost taking a blanket off the speaker cab and all that signal coming through. And I knew of him because I'd watched a video recently where he'd installed it on Steve Vai's guitar Evo.
Oh, nice.
And Vi was absolutely blown away by it. So I was interested in this anyway. And then, I hook up with Ed, and he says to me, I'll send you one to try out. So this is going to be installed in my Kypro this coming week, and I'm going to do a video on that. So yeah, they're the companies that I work with. And also X-Vive pedals. X-Vive are awesome. They make some really, really beautiful pedals and stuff. A couple of which I have on my pedal board back there and stuff. So, yeah, they're all the companies that I work with.
Very nice. Well, thank you for sharing that with us for sure. And obviously, that's where a lot of people these days go wrong. And a lot of people look to companies to say, what can I have as a handout? It's people like yourself that become the ambassador for the company. They want to, not only they get something from them in return, but you do something for them. You're doing demos,
right.
You're doing those kind of things. You really have to work hard to maintain that relationship as well. It's not just here you go and you're out, right?
You're right, yeah. And, one of the expectations I always have of endorsements now is that I will need to pay for the gear.
Mm-hmm.
Like my Blue Guitar Amp 1, Thomas is an individual. Thomas Blug is one guy. He's invested his time and his own resources into creating this. And I bought that, I didn't expect him to give me a discount or anything. It was like, I want to buy this because it's a great piece of gear, and I tell people about it because it's a fantastic piece of gear. So I know from experience that, you know what, it's fine to pay for gear. We get discounts and stuff sometimes, and that's great. You know, that's awesome. So I always have that expectation, anyways. But also to because I have the YouTube channel now, it gives me an opportunity to really push the gear as well and show people what I think of it. And
exactly.
That helps, you know, the companies out. It helps people out as well, especially the consumer, because they want to know in a real world test, how's it going to sound? You know, is this piece of gear going to work for me when I get it into my studio, or is it going to be like, yeah, it's okay kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I can relate to that 100% as well, too, just with a product that I represent with Peddle Snake. Jody at Peddle Snake, it's actually my second longest running product endorsement. The very first endorsement, believe it or not, actually, no, my first endorsement way back was a company who is no longer in business now. They're called Firewire Strings. And I tell you, I wish I could find the stockpile of whatever was left when this company went out of business, and I would try to find a way to buy all of it, because they were the best guitar strings I'd ever played. They were like these I don't know what they were, special chemically treated, whatever, but you could beat the heck out of these strings, would not go out of tune. That was my very first endorsement. Second endorsement was Dava picks. And I mean, people might say, well, pick endorsement. It's very important. When you play the same pick, I've been playing the same pick for over a decade. What do you use?
I use the Gravities, and I should mention them because I have a deal with them as well, because John, who is the UK rep, he's a great guy, and he hooks me up with these guys, and they're just awesome. I usually didn't use kind of acrylic type picks, but when I started using the Gravity picks, they're just incredible. They're really, really good. They, you know, enhance tone. They're very playable. They feel good. So yeah, I should mention Gravity
right here as well too. I think we might have the same one. So, yeah, you can't see me because actually Jay, people that are watching this right now, Jay can't see me right now. My webcam is turned off to him just so I don't get lag. But yes, I've got the same one. I've got a 1.5 mil Sunrise.
That's it, yep.
Yeah, 1.5. Yep. Met them at NAMM. Very good people. But Peddle Snake has been probably one of the longest. It was the third one down the line, but it was one of the longest, and I've had a really good relationship with them. And even though I could promote it live with the band, the YouTube engine or vehicle today lets me do that so much more, and that's something that I'm doing in the very near future as well too. That's been exciting for me because I'm doing a multi-part series to kind of give back to these people that have been giving something to me. So I'm doing just got the Peddle Snake in the other day, a brand new custom one that was made not off the shelf. It was made for me, and I love it. It's actually hooked up right now to the rig. It's powered on, and it made my rig so silent. Jay, you'll appreciate this.
Fantastic.
I talked to Jody at Peddle Snake, and I said, and Jody gave me these tips on, okay, here we need to get your rig quieter. And he says, my goal at the end of this year is to remove your noise suppressor from your rig. I want to quiet your rig down, and you don't need that noise suppressor. And I said, that's some big shoes to fill, man. We're talking a high gain amplifier, but and some videos I've done on other pedals. One of my favorite pedals was the BBE Sonic Stomp. I haven't gotten rid of it, but it is off my board now, and I spoke about that pedal religiously. But it was that one little kid in the sandbox that didn't want to play nice with the other kids, if that makes any sense. It was a one pedal. When definitely. I isolated it, it was a source of some noise, and it's no disrespect to BBE or nothing, and it may not even be a fault, but so far I've isolated to that little guy being the one who didn't want to play nice. So Jody's built me a new snake, just arrived last week. It allows me to do my send and returns to the amplifier, 2 regular 1/4-inch inputs, like one for the guitar, one for a wireless. Also sends a 7-pin DIN to my board for my 5153 foot switch, an 18-volt line, and 2 separate 9-volt power lines. And I said, and I mentioned to him, I said, here's what I'm thinking. I'm getting some hum, and I think I know where it's coming from, because I'm running multiple pedals, we'll say 4 or 5 without looking back. They're through the loop, and a good 5 or 6 or more through the front of the amp. And that same 9-volt power supply, even though it's at the back line, is sending it through the front of the amp and behind the amp. I said, I want to isolate that. I want a separate adapter to run the loop, a separate adapter to run the front. And when I hooked it up wrong the first time. I was only getting one 9-volt power source, so I did something wrong. My fault, like always. But I isolated that, figured it out, and I turned it on. You know when you have a nice new car and it's running and you go to start it and it makes that noise because the car is already running? That's what I was doing with my rig. I thought I was on standby. And so I was very, very thankful. So that's going to escalate a little further this week. There's a new pedal board being manufactured for me by a company. It's actually was in production Thursday or Friday, and I'll probably be receiving it this week. And then working with another company who is doing some power supplies and things like that as well too. So I'm going to do some unboxing there to give, here again, long story short, giving back to these people that see something in us and want to work with us. So that's what you have to do. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The next question I have online is
Sure.
Okay, this is an Eddie Van Halen talk show. We got to talk about Eddie Van Halen a little bit.
I guess so. Yeah. We've got to talk about him.
And actually, there's something. Actually, before I get into that too, there's something that I had mentioned that Jason said the other night. Oh yes. This was talking about the endorsements. Jason McNamara, when he's on the show on Friday, he was talking about Nuno Betancourt, and we played a little bit of a video there as well too. And it's where Nuno stopped endorsing, or at least wasn't working with Washburn for a little bit. And when that endorsement went away, he still played the Washburn guitar. So it goes to show that he still believed in that product so much, even though when he wasn't being compensated from the brand, that it was still his guitar of choice. So that goes to show loyalty to brands.
Right, absolutely. Yeah,
that was very
definitely.
Cool. Yeah.
Gear doesn't just stop working because a company is not endorsing you.
No.
It still works. I have a line of ESPs up there, but I don't have an endorsement with them. I just love playing the guitars.
That's right. And I'll tell you an example of one on the opposite scale. And I won't mention the name out of fairness, but this was a smaller company, and they had approached me back in my early days of the band, and they brought me on as endorsement. And I was sent some nice guitars, a double neck guitar, a Les Paul style guitar. They were used a little bit. I use them a little bit, I should say. And there were some things about the company I didn't like, and I had to politely decline. And I didn't go with them anymore because I couldn't stand behind. I'm not saying the product was bad, but there was just some certain things that the company itself and things like that I couldn't stand behind. If I couldn't put my stamp on it, then I didn't want to work with them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
So it has to work professionally for both parties for sure. So,
Definitely.
So the question I was going to ask, Eddie Van Halen, where did he fall into your list of guitar heroes? How did he influence you, and maybe tell us where you were in your life at that point?
Well, I should start this by saying as soon as my friend Dan from Prometheum, actually, he found out I was on the show, he sent me a text message and he said, dude, you don't have any EVH gear. You don't have a guitar, you don't have an amp, you have nothing.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. And I was like, you know what, geez, you're absolutely right. But Eddie, I discovered a little bit later. I was for a long time, I was so tunnel visioned with just learning George Lynch stuff. And I'm really grateful for that because it it's what I needed to do in order to learn that style. But I remember at one stage, I think probably like 95, 96 or something like that. I started listening to Van Halen and loving it, and I bought the whole catalog, every single album, and just listened to it. Went over the whole catalog, went back to the beginning, went through it again, and then started to pick my favorite stuff. So that was happening, and then I guess the influence has been there vicariously through all of the other people who he's influenced as well.
Sure.
Just like guys like Hendrix and Page and Jeff Beck, and all of these guys influenced my heroes, and that influence eventually kind of trickled down to me. And then I went back to listening to those guys and seeing where my influences got their influences, and then learning that stuff. So I think Van Halen came about a little bit like that as well. And Eddie's playing was just fantastic. It's very, very bluesy. It's so distinct. Just the little things he does, and what he plays is the same as a lot of players. He plays the same things as George does in terms of the notes, licks, etc. As Steve Vai, Satriani, all of these guys play the bluesy stuff. But it's all of those little things, his inflections and stuff, which just make it really special. So whenever I try and play stuff like that, I always kind of add in those little things. I try not to kind of pull up on the bar. I'm just pushing down on the bar, and then the tapping stuff and holding the note up and tapping further up the fretboard and things like that, which just gives you that vibe. And that actually kind of spanned into eventually, I think it was like 2006. I saw an ad in the local kind of a magazine or paper or something like that. Somebody was looking for a guitar player, and it turned out to be a Van Halen tribute band.
Oh, nice.
So I was actually rehearsing with them for a while. It broke up before we got to do any gigs because the demand just wasn't there. It was like 2006, and in the UK it just wasn't that popular anymore. So the guys decided not to actually carry on with it, which was a shame because I loved learning the stuff and playing it and doing the whole Van Halen thing. So that's how it actually spanned into my playing eventually.
That's hilarious. You probably know a little bit about this, but I haven't really told you a ton of it. I had some experience as well too. And I was just digging for some photos here, and I don't even have these on digital. That's why I can't throw them into the gallery. But if you can see this here, I'll try to go to the web. You can't see this actually. You'll have to see this after. I can't see it right now. No, you can't worries. See it. So everyone else gets to see it because my webcam's turned off to Jay. But I'll show everybody here real quick. So there's me back in the Van Halen tribute days. That was the Canadian band. I'll try to tip it there, 5150. We were a Sammy era band, so you can see Dave Russell, our singer, was totally Sammy. Confused for Sammy a lot of at Sammy's gigs. And there's maybe another one here as well too.
Cool.
Wearing the striped overalls. It wasn't I was kind of half in between elements. I was wearing the striped overalls and things like that, but I was playing a Black Wolfgang. And I did have a couple Kramers and things like that too that I'd work into the arsenal as well too. But it's fun doing the tribute thing, but at the same time it's also a lot of pressure too, because you've got everybody at the front row standing there with their arms crossed, locked, just waiting for the very first mistake. And I actually remember one time I heard a camera. Someone was standing very, very close to my video camera I had on a tripod back by the mixing board, and they didn't know that it was a microphone on the camera. And they said something along the lines of, "Oh, Eric's not doing too bad tonight." In other words, I was doing crap every other night, but I picked up on the camera, so I was like, all right, well, I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. It's not too bad for sure. That's hilarious. Excellent. Yeah,
that happens. I remember years ago I was and this is on YouTube actually. I played Mr. Scary live at just a local thing that was happening here in Saltine where I live. Mm-hmm. And I'm on stage and I'd played a couple of songs. I was just jamming to some backing tracks. Mr. Scary was the last one on the list, which I wanted to play. I was having an energy crash as well because I'd forgotten to eat.
Oh, so,
no. I'm kind of like my hands are shaking a little bit. And I'm like, oh, geez, I've got to play Mr. Scary. And there's that row of guys at the front, arms crossed.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh, Jesus, I better not make a mistake. But luckily I pulled it off. I got it on video as well, which was... bonus. So yeah, it's up there on YouTube. It's somewhere on my channel. So.
I have to admit, I heard you do that on the recording that you did. No, what was the name of the recording? It was a tribute, right?
Oh yeah, that was the Lynch tribute. That was in 2003, I think we did that. 2002, 2003. That was through the original George Lynch message board, which my friend Jen Rosenberg used to run.
Okay.
And that was a great community of people. And there was talk about doing a tribute CD, and a couple of guys were working on it. I got involved. At the time I was working, I had a day job, and I was kind of, working the day job as well as kind of in the evening doing the music stuff. And I was involved in the entertainment industry at the time. So I decided to kind of administer the whole thing and make sure that it got released. And I did 3 songs, which were Wicked Sensation, River of Love, and Pick Mr. Scary. And I did a rendition of that. And that was, I think, the 3rd time I'd recorded it, because I'd recorded it a couple times before. But at that time, that was the best version that I'd done off that song. So.
I have to admit, I listened to it, and I didn't go into it with any expectations. I didn't say, I wasn't one of those guys with the arms crossed. I wasn't one of those guys thinking, okay, this is going to be nailed. I just went into it because I know you as a musician, so I know where your strengths are. And I listened to it, and man, I'll tell you, like within minutes, I was like not even minutes, within seconds, I was like, okay, the intro riff's good. And it was really, really, honestly, 100%, it was awesome. I was like, wow, total justice for sure.
Thank you.
It's almost like, when it comes to Eruption, that Mr. Scary is kind of the Eruption of Eddie Van Halen, and George's world, right? And there's
Right,
a million
yeah.
guys that can do Eruption justice. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. No. There's not a million guys who can do it justice. There's a million guys and girls, I should say too, because there's some girls out there that play guitar really, really well. But Eruption is almost becoming one of those things where it's like a no stairway or a no eruption zone in the music stores. And a few of my people that I've seen do it, and when I say my people, my friends,
Right.
and here again too, not just friends, people I don't even know. But I'm going to just list a few. But Dweezil Zappa, not a friend, but I'd love to be his friend, does it phenomenal. Someone I consider a bit of a friend, Pete Thorne. I think Pete did that really, really well.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day when YouTube could only do 15 minutes, so he did like about a 7-video segment of Eruption, and I still think it's one of my favorites. There's going to be people out there that have their opinions and say, they're going to analyze and scrutinize it like there's, the JFK films, you know what I mean? But it's there's great merit in that. Al Estrada, he's out there as well too. I've reached out to him a few times. He's a very humble dude. He's not really into doing the talk show thing, but I think he's a phenomenal Eddie guy. There's just so many people out there doing that stuff. There's a young guy, I forget his name. He contacted me through the Facebook page as well too, and he did an actual tutorial on Eruption. And at some points, I really pinpointed and thought they were phenomenal. And that's something I've been talking about doing for a long time too. Maybe this would be really cool. You know what? Maybe in a 2-part segment, maybe have. I plan on doing an Eruption roundtable where get some of the best guitar players out there to come on and give their input and their take on Eruption and analyze it, break down the parts, and show their contributions to it. And I have a couple parts I'd like to contribute because I don't do it very well, but there's a couple parts I do know. And I think maybe you'd be a great guest to have on to do maybe a Lynch roundtable. And pick a song and say, okay, now let's take a look at this. And you'd probably be surprised, even from some other Lynch fans around the world, that they may have some secret little thing they might share that might make you kind of go, oh, I never looked at it from that angle. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that.
It actually happened with one of the songs I did late last year, which was Cry After Gypsy. Mm-hmm. Now, Cry After Gypsy was the first Dokken song I ever learned. So pretty special song, and I decided to do it for Lynch Licks, and I decided to do the entire song, so every single rhythm part, every single solo. But there was this one part where I didn't know how George got the sound. And just by synchronicity, it was the first time Craig and I were meeting in person. Craig was actually going to be in London, so I went up to meet him, and we were talking and stuff, and talking about Cry After Gypsy, and he mentioned that actually George used the coin to make the sound at that part. I learned something new that day. Then I put it in the video. So
perfect.
Craig, thank you.
That
Thanks,
is awesome. Little tiny tips. Little tiny tips. That's fantastic.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known how to do it. I would have kind of did it with my pick or something. But there you go.
That's right. It saves you a lot of searching for sure.
Definitely.
Just want to acknowledge somebody in the chat as well too. Robert Baker's joining us, and Robert,
cool.
Yeah, Robert's name's come up a lot here on the show as well too, and I've had a lot of email suggestions come in to have Robert on the show. Robert, if you can, do me a favor, please, and send me an email to info@evhgeardiscussion.com if you'd like to be a guest on the show. I'd like to have you for sure. And I've mentioned a lot of comments to people on YouTube because his name comes up a lot. Said I'd like to have him on for sure. Just send me some contact information if you'd like to be involved, and I'd be more than welcome to have you on the show. I'd love to have you. So send me an email.
And talking about influences, he's one of my influences for YouTube and guitar playing. So he's just a wonderful guy. I met him at NAMM a couple times, and just a wonderful guy. So
great.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for the inspiration, man.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. I'm looking forward to discovering more of your stuff as well too. And I'd be honored to have you on the show if you're interested for sure. And I know the fans want you on the show, and I can echo that statement for sure. I'm going to jump into the next question, and I think this is something that's really, really cool. And I saw this as a guitar aficionado. I love many brands of guitars. You have your own take on guitars, and if I have it correct, is it the Spirit Dance guitars? Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. Well, I can show you them a little bit. Actually, I'll go back to the beginning where Spirit Dance started, which was... grab it without my headphones falling out. Here we go. All right, so this guitar that I'm holding now is the first guitar which actually had the Spirit Dance name. This is an ESP neck with a body that I found on eBay actually.
I love
and
that.
I put this guitar together. This is my desert island guitar. This is like, you know, if I could only have one guitar left, this would be it.
That's beautiful.
I just love this guitar. It has an Arcane Mr. Scary pickup in it, an Entwistle XS62 neck pickup, Wilkinson bridge, locking tuners. You know, it's pretty simple guitar, but it just feels so good. Sounds fantastic. So it all started with this. I built this and, you know, put the crystals in, did the snakeskin, this real snakeskin on the pickguard there.
It's actually real snakeskin.
Yep. I make these, so you know, I have a bunch of snakeskin which I use for that. So this actually became the template, and it kind of morphed into
on the headstock there. Was it? Oh, sorry, your headphones are on the headstock.
Sure.
Was that Was that like a burned wood kind of thing, or was that more just a paint? It's burned.
No, that's all burnt.
Nice.
And that actually followed through into this, which is spirit dance guitar.
See, now you see that that I like that. I like that a lot.
Thank you. And this was actually the inspiration for this. Well, the suggestions for this came from my wife actually, because she said, why don't you keep building them, why don't you build some and sell them? And she was right, you know. So at the time I just got back into pencil drawing. So I combined that with the crystal inlaying, the real feathers. I'd gone on a bit of a spiritual quest as well. So the American Indian, Native American thing was, and still is, very, very big in my life. So that became part of it. And so was created spirit dance.
That's beautiful.
Image you see there, it's actually hand drawn. It's done in graphite pencil. That takes about a day to do. Wow. And got real feathers, the crystals inlaid in the body. This one has Dominger pickups in it, which are just wonderful. Joss and Tammy actually built these for me very specifically. They're called a set of custom 8s. And there's only one set like it in the world, and they're on this guitar.
Beautiful. Now, is that an ebony fretboard?
It is. This neck actually, a friend of mine sent me, Mike Spacratella, actually sent me this neck years ago, and I had managed to snap the headstock, and I actually repaired it and created the Spirit Dance headstock there. All the coloring, by the way, is via blowtorch. There's no stain on this. This is literally kind of everything is done with heat and a blowtorch. I like
that. My father was really good at that. He was he actually burnt a lot of things down doing it, but he actually had a real talent for the torch and things like that. It was really nice. So that looks nice. That's why I was asking if it was burnt. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, definitely. And that's all I use. I use stains sometimes, but very, very rarely. And one of the things that happened was, because I was repairing the headstock, I needed to put a piece of carbon fiber on the back of the head.
For strength?
Yeah, this was for strength. This is actually because, I don't know if you can see this. There's a little kind of line there between the neck and headstock. I can see that,
the joint, yeah.
Yeah, that's the joint. That's where I repaired this.
But that carbon fiber, it looks like it's supposed to be there. It looks like it should be there.
Right.
That's awesome.
And that actually, I've carried that through to the other builds, because my friend Dan from Prometheum, I built him a guitar, and I put the carbon fiber on the back of the head.
I like it. So it's almost one of those things where, you know, people looking at it, they wouldn't know that it was done because one needed it. They look at it because it looks like it should be there. That's beautiful. I love it.
Right. Yeah.
Now that bridge, it looks like almost like a Wilkinson type bridge.
That's exactly what it is. It's a Wilkinson WVS 50 Mark II on this one. I either use that one or the VS 100. It's a really great bridge because I stopped using guitars with Floyds on them, simply because the locking nut basically kind of just locks the string. So I wanted that open kind of nut thing. And the Wilkinsons are really good in between. It feels like a Floyd, but I get to have locking tuners and an open nut.
I agree with that 100%.
Best of both worlds.
That's the thing. You know me. I'm a Floyd guy.
Right.
But when I've had some other guitars as well too. Many guitars that have had Wilkinson bridges, and I love them. They're a very, very nice bridge. Very spongy. You know,
Definitely.
you can almost sometimes get like a Bigsby almost feel, a real, forward back a little bit, just nice vibrato, nice, bounce from it. So that's nice. I wasn't sure because I saw that guitar online. I saw you posting some of these and I thought it looks like a Wilkinson, but I'm not sure. So maybe some of their bridges have evolved since last time I've had one. But I thought it was similar. So great on. Good.
Yeah, so I've built this one, the one for Dan. There are a couple of others out there. Another one which actually sports the Spirit Dance label is Bones, my version of Bones.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And that actually has the carbon fiber on the back as well.
There you go.
So this is Spirit Bones. So I specifically built this as a Spirit Dance guitar. So
nice.
Yeah.
So here's a question that's from someone like myself who is a novice when it comes to this carbon fiber. How hard is it to cut that? Is it in a thin sheet?
Yeah. That's like a 1 mil sheet, and either 1 mil or 1.5, and it's really easy. You just use like a multi-tool, a Dremel type tool with a cutting bit on it, and it cuts through it just fine. When you epoxy it to the actual head, then it adds strength. On Bones, it's not really. It's not doing anything. It just looks nice.
Yes.
But on the other guitar, it's actually strengthening the headstock. It's actually sandwiching the headstock, and it's actually adding that strength in. And I think I use either 1.5 or 2 mil on that one. But really easy to cut. It's carbon fiber is kind of its tactile strength is in a certain direction, and once it's actually glued onto something, otherwise it's really brittle.
Okay.
It's lacquered over and stuff, and it's quite brittle and stuff, so it doesn't do too much. I mean, you can bend it and whatever else, but once you've actually attached it to something and the epoxy's set in,
that's where the strength comes.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
that's
cool.
it.
Good to know, because I know people make them out of golf clubs and the things like that, and there'll still be some bend because it's not necessarily attached to something or affixed to something. So good to know for sure.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I think we should do here right now as well too? This is probably the appropriate time. Let's do another trivia question. So everyone get ready for trivia. Here it comes.
Yay.
All
get ready.
All right. So the next question is for another digital download of Jay's some of his material is what is the brand name of Jay's guitar company? Here it comes, everyone. All right. So we're going to watch. And we just got an email in from Robert a minute ago as well too, so I'm looking forward to reading that one as well too. So I hope to have Robert on the show. It's gonna be great, for sure. So the name of Jay's Guitar Company. We're gonna get my pen and paper ready. And Poison Ivy, be glued. Poison Ivy's cooking a real mean meal right now too. I can smell it out there. It smells great. So every once in a while she may divert from the chat, but I think she's back actually right now. Okay, so the guitar company name of Jay's is.
Good luck, everybody.
All right, Sean Salas, Dirty Apes, Cool Bones Guitar. He likes the guitar as well, too.
Oh, thank you, Sean. I was watching his video, actually, earlier today. I finished watching his video, which was just awesome. So.
Okay. Now, which one was that one?
That was the latest one that was from about 6 days ago.
Okay. Oh, Sandra said, Steve Hicks. I missed it. Where did I see that? Where did I see? I haven't seen it here. I don't see Steve's. Maybe, she says. Let me see here. I don't see Steve. Okay, Kite Pro. No. Oh, there you go. No. I think Ethan Wells. Ethan Wells. Oh, no, your friend Liza's going to be so upset. I'm seeing right now. I'm sorry. I'm seeing Ethan Wells says Spirit Dance. Am I correct on that, Sandra Lee? I think that's the first one. Spirit Dance guitarist, Ethan Wells. Ethan. So I hope we don't lose Liza as a fan and watcher of the show. She's driving.
Did Liza answer as well?
Let me see where she said. She said Spirit Dance guitars. Sean Silas said Spirit, then says and then says laugh out loud, and then Liza. So I'll let you work that out. But Liza, if you can send an address, if you can send through the EVH Career Discussion, I'll try to give you some other prizes, some stickers here. Got a bunch of them. Send your address through the EVH Career Discussion page. I'll send you some consolation prizes. I know you've been trying really hard to win.
Liza and I know each other as well. So Liza, just message me. I'll hook you up.
All right, there you go. There you go. And we'll have one more chance as well to win. And Sandra Lee, Poison Ivy's doing really good at trying to moderate the winners as well too. So fantastic. I want to ask another question here too. We're approaching probably about 15 more minutes into the program.
Cool.
people that know me, that are the regulars on the show, they know that outside of music, I'm into things like The Walking Dead, which is tonight as well too. I love that TV show.
Right.
You know, I'm into just doing all video games and stuff with the boy and stuff like that. But take away music, take away YouTube. What does Jay find himself doing for fun?
I read a lot. I love books. I've been reading a lot lately, especially when I was on vacation, because, you know, taking a phone to the beach isn't as fun as taking a book to the beach. So I was doing that and stuff. And, you know, music even kind of, even when I'm on vacation, I'm kind of doing some music stuff. So I was doing stuff on my iPhone and stuff. I'm into meditation. I love doing that stuff, into spirituality and stuff. So I read about that, learn about that. Love going to the gym, staying in shape, etc., etc. So, yeah, I guess those are the things that really kind of help me to do other stuff than just music. But music kind of consumes a lot of my life, and eating. I love eating. I love restaurants. I love discovering new food. Yeah, that's a passion of mine, definitely.
I like that. I think there's some advice I can take from you on several aspects there too. One, working out would be one thing that would be very, very good.
Right.
Because the only workout I get is pressing buttons on the keyboard. You know what I mean? And the only other workout I've had since that is carrying around that camera rig at NAMM. That was insane.
Right.
But
God,
that, and you know, just kind of reflecting, and I've never ever embraced meditation as far as, because I don't understand it. I'm open to it, but I think being able to relax would be a great thing, because I'm the first one to admit that I'm wound up like a top, like insane. You know, it's just so many things. So trying to stretch so many hours into a day and trying to take care of so many different tasks. So being able to just take a breath, relax, enjoy the moment, I guess, is a really, really good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, meditation is basically just about focusing the mind and, just decluttering the mind. The way I got into it was via my wife, Bindi. She teaches meditation, actually. So she's been doing that for many years. So I got into it, and all the well-being and spirituality stuff via her. So that actually, it ended up actually changing my life completely and allowing me to become the person I wanted to be, who's the person I am now, which is why I smile all the time, because it feels like, I've achieved that task of becoming myself.
Good.
And I feel comfortable with that. And yeah, meditation is such a wonderful tool to do that, because it just quietens the mind. It's like taking the garbage out,
Oh, nice. I like that.
Dropping it. And, you can do it with everything. It's not just a question of closing your eyes and allowing all the thoughts to just flow and not being attached to them. But it's having that focus sometimes. So even when I'm in the studio, when I'm doing music, that's a meditation in itself, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about, you know what, I need to go here tomorrow, and I need to pay this bill, and I need to kind of check the tires on the car. And
yeah,
none of that's going on. It's basically, all right, everything else is shut off, and my focus is on what I'm doing. So yeah, meditation can take various forms.
I like that, and I may pick your brain on that if you wouldn't mind giving me some advice.
Oh yeah,
I may
absolutely.
ask you that. We won't even talk about music. We'll just say, hey, give me some direction. It'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Anytime. That's
anytime.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm going to take a couple questions off the itinerary just because we're getting low on time, but something I think it's really, really cool that I want to talk about is, okay, so everyone that watches this show knows that Eddie Van Halen is my hero. I mean, I worship the ground the guy walks on, and there's no secret there. What was it like having one of your heroes, George Lynch, perform on one of your songs?
Oh, that was great. I remember the morning when the solo turned up. George and I had talked about it a couple of years before it happened, and then I met him at NAMM 2011, I think it was, and we kind of just talked about it. I'd had the track by then, sent it to him, or I gave him the CD or something, which he lost, so I had to send it all to him again, which is just like George, actually. So, but anyways,
yep.
But I remember the morning it turned up, and I was thinking, geez, outside of Brett Chasen, who was the engineer, and George, who was in the studio, and whoever else was sitting there, I'm probably the first person to listen to this solo. And that was like a real kind of wow moment. And I dropped it into the session that morning and listened to it, and it was just like, that's great. That's absolutely perfect. And it sounded like George was supposed to play on that track. It sounded like he was being himself. I've heard him play on some other things, and he sounds like George, but the music around it doesn't sound like George, if that makes sense.
It does, 100%.
So it kind of contrasts. The contrast is a little too much, but with When Angels Cry, it just, his solo just fits so beautifully, and I was just so happy with it. And then I had to go learn it.
There you go. Yeah, because you'd have to do it sometimes, wouldn't you?
Right, absolutely, yeah. So that was fun, actually. Having that, having the ability to go into the track and solo it, just so that had his solo playing.
You don't get that opportunity every time learning some of his
exactly,
stuff.
Right.
That's what's really cool. Think about it this way. Number one, like, you're a huge fan of him, so you're always learning his stuff. Now
right.
You're learning a solo that he's done on one of your songs. That's got to be a complete snafu. Like, what the heck is going on here?
Right, absolutely, yeah. And it was a crazy moment, because I did that entire track. I ended up singing on it because the singer I had in mind didn't work out and stuff. So I ended up doing my own vocals. I'm obviously playing all the other instruments and stuff, and did the outro solo and stuff. And yeah, it was great. And that song was very much influenced by the Lynch Pilson period of time. That was kind of the influence as to writing that song, and I had that in mind when I was writing When Angels Cry.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I do agree with you the way you said that too, how it didn't look like it was contrived or something. Okay, let's throw this and let's have George Lynch solo. Everything just seemed to, it could have been one of George's tracks. It was very fitting. Very nice job. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've teased over in the chat. I said last trivia question coming up. And I almost feel bad because I think Liza's going to lose again just because she's trying so hard. But okay, here we go. And Sean Salas is saying, having George playing the album is awesome. Legacy of Lynch is saying George and Jay for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Steve
Thank
Hicks,
you.
3 big influences are Eddie, George, and Steve Vai. Teddy is joining us. Teddy is joining us saying, what's the prize? We're giving away some digital downloads of Jay's discography. Not all of it, but some of the tracks. Trying to think here what as well. Okay, so here we go. Here is the next question, and this was discussed moments ago, and you probably can't even rewind the video yet to be able to get to this, but what is Jay's Desert Island guitar? What is Jay's Desert Island guitar?
I'll give him a little bit of a hint.
Okay.
I won't say what it is, but I might be holding it.
There you go. Sandra Lee, Poison Ivy, be prepared. All right, we're going to see who wins this one. And I'm watching closely. Come on, Liza, you can get this one. What is Jay's Desert Island guitar? Like me, the people that watch this show, they know that my Desert Island pedal is my Boss DD3, which has now become my DD500.
Cool. Nice.
But,
right.
But if you're on a desert island, you're not going to have electricity anyways.
Right.
So, but a guitar, you can still play acoustically.
Yeah.
Jay played, Sean's asking the track that George played on. And that
it was called
When Angels Cry?
When Angels Cry.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, right.
Yep.
Okay, so Desert Island guitar. And I know there's a delay. There's about a 30 to 45 second delay. And I apologize if people see me looking off to the side here. That's where my other computer is here as well, too. So everyone's either Googling you right now or they're the snakeskin pickguard one. Oh,
yay.
Yeah, but what's the name? I got to go with the name.
What's the name of it? What's the name of it?
You decide how you want to handle this. So the
sure.
Contest is over. Teddy Segalarius says the snakeskin pickguard one. I think that's kind of vague, but Sinner says his ESP Spirit, and then Steve Hicks says First Spirit Dance. How do you want to handle that one in the First Spirit Dance?
Wow, that's a tricky one.
Okay. I'm going to, because so people don't flame me, I'm going to let the deciding vote go to Jay. How do you want to handle that one?
I'll tell you what. They all kind of got it right. Okay. They all kind of got a little bit of it correct. So
okay, Teddy, Sinner,
and Steve, right?
Yep.
Okay. All of you guys message me. I'll send you something. All right.
Okay.
How about that?
Perfect, guys. Go ahead, contact Jay.
Well done.
If you're not friends with Jay on Facebook or don't have a contact, message me through the Facebook page, and I'll be more than happy to provide it. But if you have Jay and you can contact him, please do that as well too. So there we go. All right. So hopefully, if anyone has any questions about the contest, if I missed anybody, let me know. But that was great. Everyone's gonna have some great music to listen to, and I've been spoiled because I've got your music that you sent me, and I've got to listen to it. And it's nice to get, as I was writing a lot of these questions for the interview, I really surrounded myself with the music, and I was having a great time with it. You know, it's
fantastic.
It's the best way to do it is because I get where you're coming from by listening to your music, and the questions just started to flow as soon as I put on the tunes. It was a lot of fun. So not that I'm trying to put you on the spot by any means. We've only got a few minutes left of the program. Would you like to do any performance and to show anything off in the background there? You don't feel obligated. I'll switch over to a full screen for you.
I shall. I'll turn this stuff on, and actually, you know what? I'm going to play this one. Let me just switch this stuff on. Oops. Let's see if this works. There you go, a little bit of playing for you guys.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I was just saying in the chat we don't do this a lot in the show, and just because sometimes the technology doesn't allow it with Google Hangouts. I mean, you would have sounded horrible, even even if you and George Lynch and Craig Rendels and Eddie Van Halen and Yngwie Malmsteen were all in the same room, and we're playing through Google Hangouts, it would have sounded like you're in the 12-foot deep end of the pool. It would have sounded horrible.
Yeah.
But with this technology, I think everyone's going to get a pretty good treat. The word
Brilliant.
is, Adam says, eargasm. And let's
awesome. Thank you.
Since he says that, I'm going to just, and I know, Jay, you can't see this. I'm just going to flip over to a quick gallery for a second. I want to show, Adam sent me in some nice pictures. And by the way, my little man Bane Rocks, that's Eric Jr., he's jumping in the chat as well too, so he's anxious to see you. So I'm just going to show a couple guitars that Adam sent over here as well. Tell me if you guys can see this here. Now some of the pictures are going to be sideways, so turn your monitors sideways as you do this.
Cool. Oh, thanks.
Some of those pictures I was just showing there on the screen, that's from Adam in the chat there. I was nice enough to send it to me, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to rotate some of the pictures just moments before going live, but I said I would show them on the show. So we've been given a really, really good treat today. We're just a few minutes before the 90 minutes of the program. One of the nice things about having talented guests like Jay and the other people on the show is that we have a lot of questions, and some of them are saved for a rainy day. And I only got through probably about half the questions I wanted to ask, and we were able to treat some of the fans not only with some great prizes, but some great music. And for those of you that got the chance to experience, Jay playing, we'll have more of that on the show a lot too. And there's a good question right here as well too. Two people at the same time, Craig Rendels and both Teddy are saying. So Craig's saying it sounded great, and Teddy's asking, what are you running through? Can you give a little bit of a run through on what you're using there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I am running the guitar into a Friedman BEOD pedal, and that's going into my Blue Guitar Amp 1. I have a TC Electronic Flashback Mini in the loop, and that's going into a 112 cab, a custom 112 cab, which I have down there. So, and that's it. It's a really, really simple setup. That's what I use for my Lynch licks. That's what I use for live. It's just I like to use a really kind of straightforward, no nonsense kind of setup. So yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Thanks for letting us know. And it's really cool that you talk about
you're
using
welcome.
the overdrive as well too. And
Right.
I'm not sure if I grabbed a guitar here. I don't think I'm going to play for long, but I'm just going to try to show something really quick for the sole fact that it's really funny that we talk about overdrive pedals going into tube amps and things like that. A lot of people don't think about doing that. And right now, you can see the green lights back on my 5150 100-watt half stack back there. And I love the BE overdrive. In this case, I'm using the MXR 5150 overdrive. And every once in a while, I just feel like that inspiration to play an overdrive pedal into the tube amp. I mean, people have been doing it for many years with tube screamers and everything anyway. So, I mean, it's not like, why not? I'll see what I've got for level here, and I'll just give you guys a bit of a sample of the tone I've got going back there right now too. I'm going to roll back my vocal microphone, and I'm just going to roll up the microphone on the 412, and we'll see what we got here. I'll just switch cameras for a brief moment and see what we got. There you go. Yeah, it actually didn't sound too bad in here. It probably sounded like crap on the internet, but we'll see. But
sounded great.
So there you go. We broke a new milestone on EVH Gear Discussion today. We're going to have guitar players playing on the show. Who would have thunk that on a Guitar Talk show that we finally have to have guitar players playing? So Jay, it's all because of you, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And that was
Anytime.
awesome, man. You sounded freaking great. People in the chat are loving it as well too. A lot of fun. We're just at the 90-minute mark. I have all the links. I think I posted in the description down below. But tell us if people want to get the Cole's Notes version of you in a heartbeat, find out more about you, where can people go?
Sure. Just go to my website, which is jayparmar.com. It's JAYPARMAR.com, and all the links to everything that I do, Spirit Dance Guitars, my producing, YouTube, everything's up there. So, yeah, you can find it all down there.
Fantastic. I feel completely honored, and I apologize yesterday. Jay was scheduled to come on the show yesterday. There was a scheduling conflict on my part, so Jay was very nice to accommodate his family schedule, his work schedule, and everything else, and come on today. I'm very honored, and I guarantee you this is not the last time you're going to be on the show. As long as you come back, I want
Definitely.
you for sure. And
Definitely. I would love to come. Anytime you need me, just holler. I'll be here, man.
I'm thrilled. I had a really pleasurable experience meeting you at NAMM, and I'm very thankful for that because I've made some good friends since that, and it's really nice. And I got some new sources for inspiration with YouTube, with guitar playing, and then you're talking about other ways of meditation and ways to center yourself and things like that. So I'm looking forward to embracing all these things. So I'm going to let everyone go. If you're fans of The Walking Dead like I am, be sure to watch that tonight as well, too. Check out evhgeardiscussion.com for all the upcoming episodes. We've got some great guests coming up as well, including Jamie Humphries from over your way as well, too, in the UK. Phenomenal Eddie Van Halen fan.
Fantastic.
A lot of great things coming up on the show. We're looking forward to having more. And I guarantee you sitting here right now that Jay's going to be back on the show. I don't know. I don't care how I get him back. I'm getting him back. Love having you, buddy.
Anytime you need me, man. Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I would love to come back on the show. So, yeah, we'll make it happen for sure. And thank you, everyone, for all the questions and the contest and everything like that.
Thank you as well. And the feedback in the chat there as well, too. Everyone's saying the best EVH show yet. Jay is a true gent. How nice a guy. Great Sunday afternoon. The show killed. You know what? You guys, you totally rock. As Jay can, I know I'm not speaking for Jay, but I'm just going to kind of speak for Jay a little bit. As us as YouTubers, we are only as good as our audience. If we have no audience, we suck. So thank you for being our audience. Thank you for being supportive. Just thank you for being the people that you are. And, tune in again next time. Follow Jay closely what he's doing. And I expect more from both of us this year. Have a good one, everyone. I'm going to turn it over to the little man. He's going to tell us what he's playing and what his name is. And we'll talk to you real soon. Thanks so much, Jay. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Eric.
Cheers.
My name is Eric, and I'm playing left-hand guitar.
Video
production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.